Hey traders, as some of you know, Surge Trader has been the sponsor of the day trading show for the last 2 months. Now, you may have just heard, like I did, that the CEO of Surge Trader has been accused by the US government of being connected to the financial crimes allegedly being committed by her husband. Upon hearing these very serious allegations, I've decided to step away from my relationship with Surge Trader. I take my reputation very seriously, and I take your financial safety very seriously. And I hope that you can support me in my decision to step away. Honestly, when it comes to matters like this, I feel like I've built my reputation these last 8 years on staying as far away from issues like this as possible. I've always put your best interest first, and I would never intentionally mislead anyone. And it should go without saying, but had I known about these issues, I would have never taken the sponsorship. So thank you again for your understanding. I really appreciate it. You guys know I appreciate your attention so very much. And I will reflect and find ways to better serve all of you guys in the future. Please let me know if you have any questions. My email is info@asfx.biz. Now, enjoy the podcast and thank you again, always. What's up, traders? Welcome to the Day Trading Show. I'm your host, Austin Silver, and I really appreciate you being here. I'm going to be sitting down today with our home team, Evan, Tom, and James, to talk about the last month of trading. We talk about some of the success that some of our Black Shirt Club members have had. We talk about the success that our coaches are having. Tom on his first double-digit return month ever, so big up there. Evan crushing it on some of his swing trades. He was actually traveling and trading, so we're going to talk about that, which is good for everybody to hear. And James passing a couple new funding challenges as well. So just a lot happening on the ASFX staff side that we want to share and kind of highlight. Maybe some things that you can take and apply into your own trading. I think you're really going to like this episode. So make sure you're watching on Spotify or YouTube as we get into the second half of today's episode. I let you know as we go, but I want you to see the screen share. We go over some charts. Make sure you're not driving, of course, but when we switch to screen share, I'm going to let you know on the audio, but just be ready to go to either Spotify or YouTube to see that video. Now, enough out of me. Enjoy today's episode. All right, traders, we're back. We've got a home team episode today. I'm joined with Evan, James, and Tom. Today, we're going to be talking all about the last month of trading. We've had an exciting month here at ASFX. We had Evan in town filming some content, so Ev, we'll talk about that a little bit. Ev's doing really well with his trading. We had a huge, 3 or 4 day trade on GBP AUD. Definitely need to talk about that. James has passed a couple of funding challenges in the last month, so we need to really break that down with him and see what he's doing really well. And Tom, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the best, not just best month of the year, but also the first 2 double figure month that you've had in how long?
Since I've started trading the financial markets, other than a funding challenge. So yes.
Yeah. So it's pretty good month for everybody here across the board. And you guys, we had our coaches corner meeting this morning in the Black Shirt Club, and you guys saw my trading. So after today's trade, 4 trades this month, 4 for 4, I'm up almost 2%. So all of us having a really, really good May, which is cool to see. And it's funny, a lot of the guys I follow on Twitter sent their month over month P&L. A lot of people started slow in January. I know, Tom, you speak about it a lot. Your January was really slow, but May has picked up, it seems like, for most traders. So I guess we'll throw it there first, boys. Tom, why do you think that is? Why do you think January started off slow and now we're seeing a lot of traders that are traditionally good traders? Why are they starting to do even better now? Do you have any idea?
So I can only talk from my experience. I think for me, with it being a new year, just wanted to come out of the blocks. You have that downtime over the Christmas and New Year period. You reflect on the last year. You think, right, I've got all these great goals that I want to achieve. And with most things, I try and run before I can walk. So came out of the gate in January when the markets were not hot or where I wanted them to be. So obviously I got caught out in January and made some mistakes. But thankfully managed to learn from then, have had a bit of a tough sort of February, March reflecting and changing. And then I feel like May is probably the first month where I'm getting the rewards for the hard work that I put in back in February and probably March, April to try and find my feet. And then May has started to accelerate a little bit more. So yeah, I think it's just the cycle of all the work that was put in previous months.
Ev or James, do you have anything that you would add to that? I want to know more. It's a good answer, Tom, but I want to know more. Is there a trend that has changed? Is a certain market performing differently that you thought would work well in the beginning of the year, Tom, that now it's shifted? Evan or James, you want to jump in on that?
Okay,
Well,
go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'll just say some real quick, and then I'll pass it back to Austin because I know you're just an SPX trader for now, pretty much. And over this past maybe month or two, we've just seen it kind of sit sideways. So your market, you could say, has changed when you were coming in 2022, in the beginning of 2023. You were finding a lot more trades, a lot more trending movements, but then it just kind of just went sideways for you. But for me, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Tom with January, how we all want to come in new year, let's make some new records and these new goals. But it definitely did start slow. Players are getting back into the market from their vacation, the new year. And then I think it just slowly progresses. And like I like what Tom would say, like you just use those beginning months to like just build your foundation. You might not get the results you want in January or even February or March, but like you're building up what you're gonna do for the rest of the year and then for years on. So like you might not see the returns in the beginning of the year, but you just build towards good habits and the strategy that you want to use the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. James, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say I don't think it's the market for Tom that has changed a lot. I think it's himself. So Tom and I work quite
Mm.
closely together, obviously because obviously all four of us work closely together. But what I mean by that is Tom and I are the London boys, and you guys are the New York guys, right?
The
So
London boys.
yeah, the London boys on town. So Tom and I are obviously very close with each other on and off the desk, and we're always chatting to each other on how we can improve our trading. And something that Tom and that I look very admirably to Tom and look up to him, and he pushes me in this, is he always is looking to improve on how he can be better, not only as a person off the desk, but mostly that's the most important part. But secondly, on a trader or as a trader on the desk. And what Tom has done really, really well in the last, I'd say 4 months, 5 months, is he's looked at his data and he actually knows what he's doing now. He has a set of rules that he knows that if this happens, this is what he's going to do, and he knows what his best trades look like. I think in the last, Tom and I have been working closely for almost 2 years now. I'd say maybe a little bit over 2 years, two years. I'd say, yeah, and 2 and a bit years. And Tom has never been more confident in his plan now because he's actually identified what he's doing well, and he knows now it's a repeatable process. So now his process is fixed, right? His process is fixed because there's no matter how much you plan and everything, the market is always going to change. The market is a variable, right? The market conditions change. That's a fact. But Tom's approach now is very, very fixed. He knows what he's doing. So because his approach fixed, he knows, okay, this market condition is not favorable for my trading conditions and my fixed approach. Let me sit out of the market, and if the market conditions have been favorable, which they have been in the last month. I mean, he's up in double-digit percentage returns this month for May. He has been able to capitalize on that.
That was very well said. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Tom?
I appreciate the kind words, first of all. Love working with all of you, and James, like you said, yeah, just grateful to be able to work and trade alongside and study all of you. Like, it all comes from working together, and I've got everybody here to be thankful for that. So yeah, no, just a show of appreciation, really.
So, and of course, right back at you. Where do we go from here, though, Tom? Now, after having a great month, of course, the worry is like after the big wins, we talk about it on every episode of the podcast, comes the biggest losses. So maybe we talk for a second. Of course, maybe we can get into the strategy of some of the trades. I know we're going to do a screen share in maybe a second, but like, what are you doing to prevent the almost inevitable for most traders, which is the big crash after the great month?
So every single day, my objective at the start of every day, I'm don't let ego get in the way, don't let overconfidence get in the way, because I know that I can start to run away with things in any good period, whether it's trading or in other areas. I either get complacent and back off and stop doing the things that got me to where I got to, for whatever reason, or I then start to think that I can either call every market, everything that doesn't meet the plan. I'm like, oh yeah, this looks good, I'll trade GU short, when it's not even in my plan. It's not, and I just feel like I can call everything, and that couldn't be any further from the truth. My opinions do not get me paid. My systems and my processes do. So it's just about being self-aware, and making these mistakes so many times before. Am I going to make mistakes again? Am I probably going to have a big loss? Yeah, probably. Am I far enough into my journey where I can't? No, but hopefully they get fewer and farther between and less damaging. So yeah, I think just awareness and trying to have people like you guys to hold me accountable.
I love that. Okay, so let's pass the stick for a second, Tom, since we're talking about your success. Let's look at Evan, because now Evan did something I think which is pretty cool, and I just can relate a lot to Evan's journey. Like, I've watched Evan grow as a trader into the role that he has now with us as a coach. And last week, he flew from where he lives up in New Jersey and New York City near there, flew down here to Florida. And while he was on the trip, he was still managing a GA trade. And there's a point with this trade that I think we should highlight, Ev. Maybe there's other points that you want to highlight. And like I said, we could do screen share if you want to. But you told me at one point, I was like, hey, we're at the studio, we're filming. And I'm like, hey, how's the GA trade going? And Evan's like, oh, I kind of forgot that I still had a piece of that trade running. And I think that like, again, where I could just relate a lot to that. That reminds me of when I started to run my trades longer, even with just a small piece. You almost forget about it. And sometimes 2-3 days later, you don't want to necessarily forget about it, but like they can turn into great wins. Often I find when you get out of your own way and just let the market go and do what it's supposed to do, we get ourselves out of huge moves. I think it's happened to you before with ECAD. I remember a few months ago too, Ev. So do you want to speak on that for a second?
Yeah, well, first off, it wasn't always like that. I used to, if I had a piece in, I'm watching it, and I put in my report card this week that whether I'm watching it or not, it's gonna go where it's gonna end up going. Me watching it doesn't change it. But like in the past, it was like, I don't care. I need to see what's going on for like peace of mind. I gotta see is it going 10R for me, or am I stopped out? But yeah, I think just over time, knowing that I can't control it, whether I'm watching it or not, I'm full out. I can't lose money on it. I have other things that I'm doing, so I'm not gonna let it consume my whole day. But that just only came with time and experience of just not wanting to watch it. But yeah, it was a good trade. I'd say if I was like full in, that'd be a lot more stressful. But since I followed my plan, there's nothing for me to worry about.
Yeah. And how do you think the trip went when you came down here to film the content?
It was good. It was hot, a little hot for my liking. A little 85, 90.
Dude,
but
stop, bro. It was beautiful. I wish that the other two of you could come and do the same thing. It'd be so, like I said before we started the podcast, it'd be so nice if we could all be together.
It was probably hot because you New York boys wear your masks in the hot summer. That's why.
The ski mask, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. We got a lot of content done. It was like 5 hours in the studio with Vince and just filming.
I got to meet Vince. It was good.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to James now. We talked a little bit about Tom. We did Evan. Now let's talk about you, Brucie. A couple of funded challenges in the bag here. You tweet about it. You're humble. You don't brag about it enough. You don't flex at all. Why don't we just talk strategy, bro? Because I think that's what everybody really wants. They want to know, what are you doing as far as like risk, reward? How many hours a day are you trading? How many days are you trading? And how many trades per day are you taking? I think give us some information like that.
Cool. So can I share my screen by any chance?
100%. You should be able to right now.
Yeah.
So everybody, if you're listening to the podcast here, this is where you got to switch over to Spotify on video, or you got to go to YouTube here.
Cool. Can you guys see my screen?
No, yeah, I can now.
Yep, we're
perfect. Good. So let's first speak about strategy. Okay, so I'm trading. Unfortunately, I don't know what Evan and Austin and Tom feel when they hold their trades overnight. I don't do no such thing. I used to, and I used to lose a little bit of sleep, and that's why I think I have no hair now. When I first got into trading in August,
I was just gonna say, bro, it's not a podcast unless we make a joke about you having no hair. Come on, so you got to get it in here. Yeah,
that's a standard.
Yeah.
So, so first of all, I think I've also just trading's a journey of oneself. That's what my favorite trader Anthony Crudeli refers it to. It's a journey of oneself, and I think over the years it's been actually amazing. This is why I know I sometimes slack with the daily report cards, but it's been amazing to see how I've developed even in the last 6 months as a trader. So first of all, the first thing is I'm only trading 4 currency pairs. If you can see my screen here, I'm only trading Euro CAD, GBP CAD, GBP USD, and Euro JPY. Those are the 4 currency pairs that I stick to. I only trade currencies, those 4, and those are the 4. I trade from 9 a.m. to say 1 p.m. South African time. So that is 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern time. And then again from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, right, on those 4 currencies. Those are when the best times to trade those currency pairs are. Now, of course, there's going to be moves outside of them, but those are my best times. So predominantly London for 4 or 5 hours. and then New York for about 2 to 3 hours, 2 hours max, sometimes London. Because more often than not, the move is in the London session on the currencies. It just happens to move nicely there, and then you do get continuation plays in New York session. But now journaling and everything and tracking this has really been a great, in hindsight, you can go back in hindsight and look, okay, this is what I did. And you can really see what you're doing well. One thing I do is I trade live on stream, and you guys on ASFX TV, so you guys can go watch that. But I have been taking, I think I'm on like a 6 or 7 trade win streak live on stream. I trade live on Wednesdays and Fridays, and so does Evan and Tom. So if you guys want to see me trade live and the guys making money with me on these moves, you can do so. But my 2 best pairs during these times that I've passed these funding challenges have been GBP CAD, so pound, Canadian dollar, and Euro CAD, euro to the Canadian dollar. And I actually caught this move on stream here. I didn't catch the whole move, obviously, and this is where I need to get better at getting back in. But this GCAD move to the downside was really, really neat. Okay, so that was one of the moves at the start. This was at the start of the challenge. I capitalized on this move here to get my challenge rolling. I remember this was on a Friday, as you guys can see, Friday the 14th of April.
Yep, and you tell everybody what you're doing for taking profit on these trades too.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'm going for 1R. I think I do, again, Crudelli is a big influence on me like this. He does well to add in and also scratch. So he adds in when trades are going in his favor, and he scratches, which means pulls the trades when the trades aren't in his favor, aren't going in his favor. So he adds in small, and he adds in and then adds in more to fill up his full position size. And that's what I've been trying to get better at. So instead of taking one full entry, I'll take an entry at 25% of my original size, for example, another 25%. Okay, it's going to give me more signs that it wants to drop. I'll add in another 25% to make up my full position, or sometimes 50% of my full position size. Let's say I want to risk, for example, 1%. I'll get in at 0.5 and then add in at another 0.5 when I get the signal that it could be dropping. And Tom and Austin and Evan have been pushing me in that. I'm only trading for 1R. That suits my personality and what I want to do, especially with currency pairs that I trade. You get nice volume. We've got about a 20 to 30 pip stop on them predominantly, and a currency pair every single day will move 20 to 30 pips. So that's guaranteed that will happen. So you can look to get 1R on those moves.
What do you think of that, Tom? Real quick before you keep going, James.
Yep.
Let's stop on this point, just because people are listening to this and they're going to be like, 1R. Like, there are people, we need to just talk at the people that think 1R is not going to be profitable.
So I think James has proven that it absolutely can be profitable.
Of course.
It's just maths at the end of the day. If your win rate is above 50%, obviously minus commissions and spread and all of that, blah, 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 blah. But if you've got above 50% win rate, you're making money at 1R. And that's all it comes down to. So somebody with a 60, 70% win rate like James, you can make money. You can make a lot of money. James has proven it over years and years. So yeah, I push James to try and hold longer. That's all I try and do. I like to see it because I see like these trades on ECAD that he takes and these continuation plays, etc. that run. So yeah, I'm always trying to push James to be better, but I don't disagree with it. And he clearly knows himself. The one thing I massively admire about James is the belief in himself and his system is second to none. And for that reason, I think that's why he trades it so well, because he fully believes in what he's doing, no matter what anybody else says. James doesn't care. James does James. And that is one of the biggest reasons for his success, I think.
So then, James, respond to that by telling everybody, where do you get the confidence to have that level of self-belief? What have you done to build that up?
Sure. And I appreciate that, Tom. I think for me, it is
lots of golf.
Lots of golf, exactly. I only go to holes in one, boss, so that's why I do 1R on the chart. But no, I think honestly, I think it comes from I've been successful in many aspects of life or in my short amount of time, like rugby. Got a degree, unlike you three peasants. But no, in all seriousness, I think my dad always made me grew me up to be something. If you want something, you got to work for it. I was fortunate enough to come from a background upbringing. I was very, very fortunate for both my mom and dad and my two younger sisters in the way that I was brought up. But my dad never gave me freebies. He always said, if you want to work, because my dad built his career on having to work. He lost both his parents before the age of 20, 21. So he always had to work, and that's what he instilled in me. James, if you want something, you got to work, and you got to believe in yourself that you're going to make it work. You not you want to make it work, you will make it work. There's a difference. If you want to make something work, it means nothing. But if you will make something work, you're going to make it work, and you're going to find a way to make it work because you said you will make it work. So I think that's just my belief. I've always been in something. Once I find something that works for me and I utterly believe in it, I'll never hinge on that. Obviously, I'll always want to get better, but I'll get better within those parameters. So just something to speak about on GCAD here. As I mentioned, I caught this to a downside. And what was interesting is we started to bottom out on Tuesday. We started to break above this 200 EMA. So something very, very important in my trading is I never trade counter trend to the 200 EMA. For those that are watching my screen, the 200 EMA is this on the 50-minute chart is the white line that's moving across the chart.
So what does that mean? It means you won't buy it if it's below the 50 or the 200?
Correct. I like to trade in trend. That just has worked for me. I think that as a trader, you need to be either an in-trend trader, which means you're trading below when price, in my opinion, this is how I read trend. Price is below the 200 EMA on the 50-minute chart, you're trading for short. If price is above it, you're looking for longs only. Yep. A second aspect, so I managed to get some of these moves to the high side. I think I do believe I took a GCAD winner. When was it on stream? It was on stream, I think on the 19th, if I'm not mistaken, of April or such. One of these days, I managed to catch a GCAD move to the high side. I managed to catch a couple of these moves actually live on stream. It was also this one. I managed to catch one on Friday the 28th. I took this trade live on stream as well. As we're breaking outside this Asia range box, I managed to catch this move here. So, I think what I have been doing well is just planning the night before, setting my biases for the night before. Being in South Africa, it's as the rollover day is happening, I'm heading to bed, I'm planning what I'm looking at the next day. I'm not coming to the desk with a quick 15-minute view of the charts. I'm coming to the desk with a good 30 to an hour view, pre-planning my moves that could happen the next day. Obviously, I'm still waiting for confirmation, such as, is the Asian range, if I'm looking for buys the next day, is the Asian range bullish? If I'm looking for sells the next day, is the Asian range bearish? So just planning, sticking to what I believe in, and in trying to improve on that.
What are most of your entry signals?
15-minute A1s and A2s, and 5-minute A1s and A2s. Those. I also look at the 5-minute chart.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a preference, 15-minute or 5-minute?
No, whichever gets me in at the price that I want to be in it. So if I know I want to be buying something that day, I'll be looking at any entry price. And that's something also that maybe I've been doing a little bit better lately. I didn't used to take A2s, but I've been, the A2s sometimes get me in at a nice price. And I know I want to be selling it today. I want to be in, that price. It's a very, very nice, coming off a nice structure level.
When are you going to start using anchored VWAP?
I have anchored VWAP on. I do use that.
There you go. There you go. I think that's something going to be, Brian's podcast comes out. By the time this comes out, his episode will already be out. But when that one comes out, I think it's going to open a lot of people's minds to trying to use the anchored VWAP. Evan, your GA trade that we were talking about earlier was anchored VWAP, wasn't it?
Yep, from the start of the day and the low of the day.
Do you have a markup of that we can show everybody? Can you pull that up?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, Tom, I'd love to go to any of the trades that you have as well, just so we can show everybody. Real quick, while Evan's pulling that up, why don't we just talk about my trading, since I only had the 4 trades. Profitable month, 4 wins. I think what's interesting to share with the podcast audience is just the timing of the trades. Remember, we talked about that this morning on the Coach's Corner, just that the trades are coming in the afternoon for me and in the evening in these overnight ideas, and that I'm running them a little bit longer, since the data from the tracker that we use in the Blackshirt Club says that my trades are running like 2.7R on average this year. So what do you guys think of that? I mean, do you have any thoughts on why? I mean, I guess kind of what Evan said earlier about me trading SPX and it being more sideways, that would lead to then having to look for other opportunities, which is the overnight Bitcoin, the overnight SPX idea is just not New York session stuff because it's very indecisive. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I certainly see the pattern in your trading. Like you all know, I study all of you, the patterns in your trading. You noticed, I think you've, with your experience of being in the markets for 8 years or so, you notice these patterns quite quickly, I would say. I think you take advantage of them very, very well. I think you like the consolidation late on at night, and then you're taking the sort of the break out of the consolidation and putting a lot of trust in the L50 and the EMAs, and we're giving you the direction for that. And then you saw that a lot of moves were happening overnight during the Asian session and looking to try and take advantage of that. So I think your success from that has come from being very, very quick to adapt to market patterns that you notice.
For sure, because there's a different version of me that's still trying to force trades New York session, never even willing to trade overnight, and it's just getting chopped around right now, or at least up until last week, you know?
Yeah, and I think for me, like we said on that coach's corner this morning, there's two things that either come from it. You've either got like where is the amazing discipline or patience come from, or then how do you feel when you go through them sessions and you're happy being completely flat? Where does that come from?
I think just trading with more money. And I thought about it more after we had the call. I think now that I have more money to trade with than ever before, it's easier to have no trade days. I'm cool because I can still make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in a month, get my payout, split my money, still make great money on 4 trades with relatively low risk, to the funded account. So I think having more money to trade with has made it easier to not feel FOMO. You know what I mean? And I think this goes to the bigger point of like, when you're struggling financially, you shouldn't get into trading. When you're in a good spot financially, you're going to trade potentially really well because you won't need the money. You'll make good trading decisions. Like all of us have experienced trying to trade because we need the money and it never works. Like you never make money that way. But when your money's good and everything's like in a good spot, you can really sit down and say like, is this trade worth the money? I have big cannons now. Like, is it worth it? Doesn't always have to be,
Yeah, no, I think that's a very fair and valid point. Definitely.
But that's hard to balance then, because what's the con to that? Then the con is, okay, you're settling, Austin. You're making 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month. Well, you should be making 100 grand a month, 200 grand a month, right? Like you can't settle. So you have to constantly balance, like, I'm doing well. Do I stop and just kind of cruise and just take my money and make my payouts? Or do I keep like going? Like you're balancing this constantly too. You know what I mean? Which is very weird.
There will always be growing pains in any performance activity. I have definitely learned to notice that. The analogy I used was when I started like cycling or running is at the start, it hurts when you start. Your legs hurt, your lungs hurt. 5 years in, 10 years in, it still fucking hurts. Your lungs hurt, your legs hurt, but you just go faster. And it's no different in trading. Like, yes, it hurts at the start. You make all of these amateur mistakes. It hurts. And then, like you say, as you grow as a trader, you get more capital. There are still growing pains because, like you say, you're leaving money on. Do you get complacent? There's always something to look to be better at. So there's always going to be there. So that uncertainty, we need to embrace as traders throughout the journey.
Yeah, 100%. Have you got a screen share ready for us?
Yes, sir. So this was... You see it?
Yeah. So this is the anchored VWAP on GA. This is the trade we were talking about.
Yeah, this is the one that placed it on a Tuesday, and then I was traveling Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday morning, like Asia session, full out of the trade. But it also had to do with the help of Tom previously, how he's teaching us a little bit about the 3 consecutive days or 4 consecutive days in a certain direction on the daily. What are the odds of it happening a 4th time and then a 5th? They get less and less, if I'm correct. So that's what was feeding this, and it was a good price on the daily to continue that trend higher. Because normally, if you were just look at this, the 15-minute does not look great. When you look at all my trades, they usually break and retest. But it wasn't just solely looking at this 15-minute. I had 2 anchor VWAPs, but also the daily feeding my longs of how could I get in? I want to get in long, but this isn't going to give me that 8-2 that I want or setting up how I want. So I was able to use our new anchor VWAP, but still our normal EMAs.
Yeah. It's still pretty, I mean, I see the divergence. I see the structure here. There's definitely a little bit of like coiling before the entry. And I think
it's like a little wedge.
Yeah, little wedge. Yeah, a little flag in there. What's interesting is like you're in this at 1.87 today. This thing is 1.91. What is that? 500 pips higher, 400 pips higher?
It chopped sideways on Friday and then maybe down during the bank holiday, but then...
So what did I say, bro? If you just if there's so many trades in like, we can all look back on them and be like, if I would just take the entry and walk away and just not look at it for 5 days, I would be like, I always make the joke, I'd own the island next to Epstein already. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be in the bag. But we always, of course you got to take profits. You can never do that, but it's just so funny to think
If
about.
I just closed this at 1R, I would have missed
Right.
10R the next 3 days. Never even coming close back to entry price. Not even
Right.
close.
And then I think what people have to understand too, like what I've always tried to wrap my mind around is like, even if you leave 0.25% of the position on and you lock the stop loss and run this, if it does go 400 pips in the next week or two, a small position can, even with swap and commission and whatever, small position can still be a lot of money, especially when you have a large trading account,
Yeah, no, it's something that you normally wouldn't have. If you were just going to get out full 1R, then
Right.
you already made more than you were supposed to, maybe. So whatever it is, it's a benefit.
Yep.
And this is just what I was talking about real quick on the daily, how it's clearly bullish on the higher time frame. This black bullish bar is hindsight of what had happened. But leading into that, we had the 4 bearish days right at the 21. And I want to get in when we're going to start being bullish again. So it was a great price.
Great. And I love that. I mean, this is basically how I took the Bitcoin short last Wednesday. It pulls back to the 21 EMA on the daily. I'm anticipating it to hold the 21 and continue in the direction of the 8 and 21 cross. And then I go to the lower time frame for an entry. Same thing you did. So it is very interesting that all of us have been using the daily time frame more in our analysis. And what I would say, tell me if I'm right or wrong in this, all of us are using less of the 4 hour and 1 hour. Am I right in that?
Yeah, I haven't looked at it.
I don't even look at it.
Right. It's daily and then down to 15 and 5. And where's the entry? It's very interesting that that's where all of us are kind of headed in that direction. I would say James at the least of us, but still somewhat too. So what's cool here is like with a strong conviction on the daily bias, you're willing to take this 15-minute setup that's not your favorite trade. It's you branching out into saying, I'm going to have other tools on my tool belt. I know my favorite trade, but this could be something in the future that develops. Because like you said, what happens the next 3 days? This thing rips. It's at 191 today. It's at 187 when you're in it, Yeah,
I would not want to short it. So how can I get in long, even though it doesn't, not going to probably give me an A2 that I love.
Right. I love that.
That was the first trade I used the anchored VWAP. I had the 2 of them. I put one in at the start of the day like I always do. We were kind of holding above it. And then I put one at the low day. And once we held both of those and held the upshift, L50 is now in the buy zone. And we were holding that Asia range high. I felt clearly it was a good price. That's when it was ready to pop.
And what's interesting is just like the Asian range high and Asian range low are so significant. Even like if you pull up EuroCAD today with that A2, the markup that I sent, the fact that it like your trade here comes off of that Asian range high zone, the EuroCAD trade today comes off of no zone. And where does it pull back to? Right to the Asian range low. And then it comes right down off of that and breaks ADR to the downside. Can you pull that up, Ev, really quick?
Yeah, I think I marked that up. I didn't know if you sent it or not.
Yeah, see if you can pull that one up just so we can show it.
I marked it up as when it was like live. I was like, yeah, I like it. It's just not right off a level.
Right.
But
let's see here.
Where are we?
EuroCAD.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. You got to click C on super charts.
Well, Evan, where are you finding most of your success, bro? From currencies or in this?
Yeah, he's trading currencies, I think, more. Yeah, like look currencies. At that. Yeah, so like you have a zone there. Yesterday's Asian range high resistance. Okay, I guess that is technically a zone. But if you remove that zone.
No, it's not a zone. It's just what I saw today. It's not going to determine a trade or not.
Right.
Of like a key one that I want to be in.
But it's not a key one from today, right? So now if you look at this trade, it's not even off the anchored VWAP. This is floating out nothing. And where does it go? Right to the Asian range low. Right. And like, yeah. Now, what if you end up getting short on this at the same price, but after the retest of Asian range low and after right there? Yeah, exactly. That's, I think, the one. Even if you take the A2 and you lose, I think you get back in here. You got to get back in here. Same price, shifting down.
Even if you go at structure, you get 4R.
Right. Yeah, because it just rips through ADR. What was it to ADR? Like 2R?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good lesson right there. For everybody watching this, if you're listening to this podcast, I would highly recommend screenshots this one. This one stuck out to me.
I imagine if you go down onto the 5 minute, there's going to be some A2s after the shift as well. The 15-minute shift there with them pins. Oh, not quite.
5?
No, nothing on the 5.
Yeah, I thought there'd be some pins when we pinned the 21.
Oh, but when you look at it like that,
signal
there
on the 3 minute, 3. Yeah. But when you look at it like that, go back to the 5 real quick and blow it up, Ev. Go along with it. When you look at that, and just like how make it a little bigger, please. Like the
But
break and
wider.
retest. Yeah, like just make like just that shift bar on the 5 minute to me is such a strong break of the anchored VWAP just from the little bit of Brian's book that I was reading yesterday. Yeah, like that's such a strong sell signal with the stop at that structure point and the fact that it's the Asian range low, like that key zone. I think that's what stands out to me.
Yeah, it's crazy how many times it's like it goes right to the Asian range. It's not like just made up. Like it's gonna go there at some point. So
For sure.
I want to sell it up there. Just
For
put a
sure.
pending right here. Put me in.
Yep.
Jeez.
Real quick, since you have your charts up, throw up Bitcoin today. Let's get an opinion on this because there were some questions about this today. We had, and we should just maybe highlight some of the Black Shirt Club guys that are doing really well. We have Kurt passing phase 1, winning his first couple of trades on phase 2. Dom's already funded now after passing phase 1 and phase 2. Tyler was halfway done, almost about 6%. I think I spoke with him yesterday. You're talking to him today, right, James?
I had a call with him. Yes, he's doing flipping well.
Yeah, he's doing really well. So like those 3 guys, we had a couple of new people come into the Black Shirt Club, and I was saying to them, I'm like, I could sell it to you in every which way, right? But like when you come into the club and then you see people that are just random people you don't know, like you in the club passing the challenge, like what more motivation do you need than that? You know what I mean? It's freaking awesome. So with Bitcoin, the reason I bring up their success in Bitcoin is because I've been pushing some of these guys to look to trade Bitcoin, especially the guys that are trading with Surge Trader or a firm that has good crypto spreads, because Bitcoin rips. Throw on ADR today, Ev, if you don't mind, just so we can like look at like this moves. Yeah, look at that 2.25
in an hour.
In an hour. If you throw on ADR, this was my trade today. I took 1R on this. It goes 2.0, but like this was at ADR and it still gives you over 1R through average daily range, which I think is very interesting. So this thing has so much momentum to it. So some of the people have been asking me, and this is what I wanted to throw out the question. Do you pay attention to the ADR of Bitcoin because it's not a Forex pair? Does it matter as much because it just has some of these days where it is so volatile? Like, I'd be curious to know statistically on a day where Bitcoin breaks its ADR, how much does it break its ADR by? Like, is it a lot? Because then it just means it has these abnormally, more volatile days. What do you guys think?
I know we talk about how if it's an indice or Bitcoin, that ADR shouldn't be a huge knock like it is on Forex. But if I were to just before this signal, you see it hit ADR in the morning, it's not doing anything since. So like if that was a Forex pair, that's telling me, okay, this thing's just gonna chop sideways the rest of the day. But
Right.
clearly with Bitcoin being volatile, it was able to keep running. So I think, yeah, you can with Bitcoin or an indice, you still want to like note it, maybe not go full size, but maybe
Yeah.
not keep you out of it full because it can
That-
run for sure.
That flat bottom there and the consolidation with the lower highs through the London session, that's like that wedge that I like to see on Bitcoin. And then if you like on a lower time frame, what that is it's a flat triangle breakout to the upside, which is the fake, the trap, get people long on the breakout to the upside off ADR, and then I'm coming in and shorting it on the A2. Yeah, so like that push up where the A2 presents is actually, in my like the way I see this, that's inducing people long. This is a form of a bull trap. People see the overextended move overnight. They're looking for a signal to get long. That they're going to look at that as a double or triple bottom right there at 27. So they're going to be like, all right, time to go. And then as soon as it starts to fall over is when I got short after market open.
Nice. That was a solid read.
Yeah.
So like at the same price?
Same price as it starts to fall over after market open. Yeah, that's why I got in because it was the same price. And when you look at that, the only knock on it is the L50 is really oversold. So I knew that. It's definitely divergent, of course. ADR, of course. But like when you just strip all the indicators away and you just look at price, what's the best price to get short since the big push down last night? Basically get this A2. You know what I mean? It's the high through all that consolidation. This is the best price to sell it at. If I think that it's going to move lower, which I do, because at the daily time frame, like back to what we're saying about daily analysis, then you want to stay short biased, even potentially, I think, through ADR with this kind of an asset. Go to the daily really quick, Ev.
Yeah, this held the shift, right?
Yep, it held the downshift. So you go into today in my head, like last night when I was looking at this, I'm going into today thinking, okay, if we get a bullish bar today, this is going to be an upshift. If this is a bearish bar today, it's going to hold the downshift, and I'm going to want to be short up here. And that's where like last night I wanted to be short. I just didn't get a 15-minute signal to get short last night. So then the short was the bias. And even though it was at ADR, I still felt like it could hold the downshift and move lower. So that's why I put something on the trade. Only 0.15%, small risk, but 0.15%.
This was the push you were able to get earlier in the last week, right? On this daily bar.
Yep.
When it held the downshift. just consolidating for you.
Yep.
Kind
Same
of like
thing.
how I use the daily on GA. You see that you're at a good price on the daily, so that's going to feed your 15-minute bias.
Exactly. And that one on that day has a 15-minute entry at the changeover of day, which is the overnight signal. So like now, like for people, like this is all fun in hindsight, but like if we close like this in a few hours on Bitcoin on the daily, which way am I trading this tomorrow?
Yeah, the 8 under the 21.
Yeah, we're going lower, like 100%. So to me, now if we continue to see follow through here, I still think that the head and shoulders and the 27,000 neckline are still in play. So if we break under 27,000, I get even more bearish. And really, bro, I mean, if you measure from the push to 27,000 back in March to now, all of the candles now, you don't have a big double-digit day. Maybe a few of them, but not many. So it hasn't found momentum like it likes to find. You scroll out on Bitcoin during the 2022 bear market, bro, 10% days are common. So we're very quiet on Bitcoin and there's still money to be made. Like, yeah, what's that? A 10% bar right there. That was the last one back there. Yeah. So we don't have, right. We need some of those. That's why I trade Bitcoin is for those days. Because back to my bigger point, when you're trying to get funded with good spreads, bro, a good Bitcoin trade will do it in a week. Literally, if it's a big week, you can pass a challenge in a week with not a lot of risk on a trade. Look at Tyler, 4 or 5 trades. Nothing had more than 1% risk. I think it was all less than 1%. And he put up 6% on the challenge because he's hitting 4R, 5R trades. So you can do work. You really can go to work on it. Zoom out a little bit just to show what I'm speaking about 2022. If you go back to last year, the bear market, you'll see the big down days right there. Yeah. Look at the slides there, bro. Massive.
Yeah, that's
couple of them right in there.
Well, 21
in a day, bro. In a day. And those are the days where like it moves to ADR and you're like, oh, like today, I should buy it off of ADR. Maybe it'll bounce. No, bro, get out of the goddamn way, bro. This is the Bitcoin train. It rolls different. It's like a steamroller. Just get out of the way. Just get with it. Never trade counter trend.
Yeah, I think if it's a Forex, respect the ADR a lot more.
Yes, I would agree with that.
This one, you can see like on Sunday it goes through it.
Yep.
That's over the weekend, but we've definitely seen it run through it. So if you have your bias and you want to get in the trade, but you're just going to not because of ADR and you're going to miss a 4% move, you're just going to kick yourself.
Agreed. And the thing about Bitcoin, when it runs up like that, that was fundamentally driven. That was driven by the news that they're going to allow Bitcoin trading in Hong Kong starting June 1st, starting tomorrow. So
Colin's making those trades.
Yeah, Colin's happy about that. So that's why what I've noticed is like when Bitcoin breaks ADR, it's fundamentally driven. So when you see fundamental news and Bitcoin starts to pick up momentum, my brain starts to think, maybe we break ADR today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to? Yeah. Anything you want to throw in on this, Tom or James? We can go to SPX. We can talk about that for a second too before we finish up.
No, I'm just listening to the Bitcoin King.
Yeah, I wish, bro. I wish. Yeah, this was today. So this is an interesting trade. This markup he has. I love that it comes off Asian range low. Nice L50 for sells. The problem with this is this is 15 minutes after market open. This is a tough one for me to take. And then it's 15 minutes before Jolt's jobs report news, which to me, like that's not a major news event. As you can see, it doesn't shake the whole market. There's no crazy pins. It just follows through lower. What's interesting is you do get a bounce here near ADR.
Yeah, it doesn't reach exactly.
No, but it's close. But where does it pull back to? Of course, the anchored VWAP and the Asian range low.
Yeah. Yeah, again, perfect L50 bearish all week. How can I get in short?
That E signal. You truthfully could have sold it right before the news. If you're going to play it into news because you have experience in like I do, and I would say from my experience, if you made me bet, I would say Jolt's jobs opening, even though it's high impact on Forex Factory, that does not shake up the entire market like FOMC or something like that. So it's not in the same category to me.
Yeah. These notes I had here were for earlier in the morning, like a anchor VWAP play here after seeing it bounce in the 382s.
I love that. It
was a 2-candle VWAP.
Love that stop.
Notes. And these ones are for the A2.
Yeah. Both of those bars, even the bar that comes down through it there and then earlier. No. Sorry. Earlier to your left off the VWAP coming down through it.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. That's a great one too, right there. Tight stop. Boom.
And an upshift there. I like this, how you're shifting us back down.
True. It's the retest. That is the trade Brian would take, and his stop would be the pin of your candle because it's a break and retest of anchor VWAP. He'd be there, bro. Yes.
Yeah, that's tight.
That's tight, bro.
But it's good. It's a good price.
Yeah, it's awesome, right? It's awesome. And then he's probably stopped out when it comes back up on the market open candle. He's going to trail the stop, and where we're getting the E signal to get short, he's going to get tapped in that black bar up. He's going to have his stop somewhere underneath that, and he's going to get tapped.
I'll take 2.5R.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, boys, this has been good. Let's wrap it up here. Ev, you can stop your screen share. I appreciate both you and James doing the screen share. Tom, I appreciate you sharing some insight after the great month. It's always good to catch up with you guys. What we're going to do now is coming up in the next few episodes, everyone. We're sitting down with some of the traders on Twitter who you've probably seen, but they're not like the most well-known. But a lot of these traders that we're going to be chatting with, James has introduced me to some of them in South Africa. They're all from all over the world. A lot of them have not just a few years of experience. We're talking decades of experience. So I just want to recommend and encourage everybody, don't judge our guests by their social media following. Judge them by their resume. Judge them by their experience in markets, not how good are they at social media marketing. So just keep that in mind for future episodes. We have a lot of exciting guests, like I said, coming for you guys. Now, boys, I appreciate the three of you always. Evan, great insights, bro. Tom, congrats on the big month. Well-deserved after the start to the year. And James, you know, bro, just keep rubbing that bald head and it keeps making magic for you, bro. So it's a good thing to see. And yeah, we're going to do this again. We'll do it like maybe once a month. We'll do the home team episodes. So let us know in the comments if you guys enjoy this versus the guests, or do you like just seeing guests? I think it's fun to mix it up with the home team episode. You guys get to see a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes. We talk ASFX TV, we talk Black Shirt Club, we talk our trades. It's good for you to see the other side of what's going on, not just the conversations, but let me know what you think in the comments. I check all the comments and I get back to everybody. So we appreciate that. But until the next one, thank you very much for listening. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you in the next episode.